Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson here, and I'm here to bring you our notes for our learning target on probability. Now, we've talked about probability in the past, and you have in past grades, Algebra 1 and probably even 8th grade, but let's just do some more extensive probability today. Up at the top of your page, let's just review what probability actually means. The probability of a success of something is the number of successful outcomes divided by the number total of total possible outcomes. So however many you want, this is like what you want to occur, and this is what's possible. Anything that could occur. That's how we get the probability decimal. Now, the probability of an event occurring is always between 0 and 1 inclusive, meaning that it could be 0, you could have a probability equal to 0, and it could be a 1. You could have a probability that is 100% or 1. The closer the probability is to 0, the less likely it is to occur, and the closer the probability is to 1, the more likely it is to occur. Okay, so we're looking for a decimal, typically between 0 and 1. Now let's take a look up at the top, just basic probability in number 1. It says a bag contains 4 blue marbles, 3 green marbles, and 6 red marbles. For part A, we want to figure out, suppose you reach into the bag and draw out 1 marble. Find the probability that 1 marble is green. Okay, so you want to think of what's the green marbles out of the total. That's what our probability ratio would look like. In this case, we have 3 green marbles, so that's like 3 successes. And in total, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and 6 is 13. So 3 out of 13. When I type that into my calculator, I get a probability of about 0.23. So really basic, just successes out of total. In part B, suppose you reach into the bag again and draw 1 marble, find the probability that that 1 marble was not red. So put the green marble back, there's still 13 marbles in the bag. Now you're looking for not red, and that keyword not there makes a very big difference as to what we're picking. So if we're picking the ones that are not red, that means red is out, and we're looking for the other options, which is blue and green. Blue and green together, so not red out of total. The blue and green, or the ones that are not red, that would make up 7 marbles. 7 out of the 13 total gives us a probability of 0.54. Okay, so that's very basic. Now, the thing about probability is that it doesn't always just involve picking one thing. Sometimes there's combinations involved, combinations like we talked about yesterday. So there's multiple ways of picking a certain thing, and we have to take that into account. So for number 2, it says, what's the probability of selecting 2 vowels from the word algebra? So I need to think of how many vowels are there. There's 1, 2, 3 vowels. And also, how many letters are there total? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total. Now, it's not just the probability of picking 3 out of 7. That would be if you're only picking 1 letter. But here, we want to pick 2 vowels. So we need to think of how many total ways are there to pick 2 vowels. So we're looking for the probability of choosing 2 vowels. And our total number of options is the probability of just choosing any 2 letters. Now, since we're picking more than one thing, we have to use a combination. So here, I would say that the probability of choosing 2, or the number of ways of choosing 2 vowels would be the combination of 3 objects, choosing 2 of them, because it says nothing about putting them in order, so we don't need to worry about permutations. We're just doing combinations here. So I'm looking at the combinations of 3 objects, choosing 2 of them. That's for the vowels. But then for the total, I want the combinations of 7 objects, choosing 2 of them. So I need to figure out those 2 things. This is how many ways I can pick 2 vowels. This is how many ways I can pick any 2 letters. When I plug those into my calculator, I find that there are 6 ways that I can choose 2 things from 3, and there are 42 ways that I can choose 2 things from 7. That reduces down to 1/7, which is also the same thing as 0.14 as a decimal. Giving me a decimal answer is perfectly fine. You don't have to give me the reduced fraction. But these are the 2 numbers that you should have gotten when you typed that into your calculator. So the combinations of how many things you want and the combinations of how many total options there are. That's what we had to look at there. Let's take a look at number 3. In number 3, now it says Julie has a collection of 32 albums on her iPad. 18 of them are R&B and 14 are rap. And as she's leaving for a trip, she randomly chooses 6 albums to make a new playlist. What's the probability that she selects 3 R&B and 3 rap? Okay, so now we have to consider what we want. She wants to choose, what does she want? What's the goal? 3 R&B and choose 3 rap. So with those two on the top, that's 2 different things there. This is going to be one thing. This is going to be another thing. Then I can also think of the total. Total choices, or I guess I should say choosing 6 total would be the total number of ways because she's picking 6 things. Choose 6 albums. So now let's think about what we need to set up to get all of those numbers. So to choose 3 R&B albums, she's got 18 R&B albums to pick from. So that's going to be the combination of 18 choosing 3. Then to choose the 3 rap, she's got 14 rap to choose from. So that's going to be the combination of 14 choose 3. We want both of these things to occur, so we need to multiply those 2 together. That makes up the top. She's got 18 albums that she can choose 3 from. She's got 14 albums that she can choose 3 from, and we need to multiply those together. This is for the R&B. This is for the rap. All right, so now the total on the bottom. She has a total of 32 albums and she's choosing 6. So this would be the combination of 32 choose 6. All right, so that's what I need to plug into my calculator to find out. Now we can use that NCR option that we talked about in the calculator yesterday, find your combinations and plug them all in. The number values that I get here for the R&B albums, I get 816. For the rap albums, I get 364. For the total, I get 906,192. And then if I go one step further, 816 times 364 gives me 297,024. So I'll keep going here. This gives me 297,024 divided by 906,192. Big numbers here that we're dealing with, but what it boils down to is a decimal or a probability of 0.328. Okay, so that's our probability there. So we had to figure out the choices that she could make. She could choose 3 from 18 choices. She could choose 3 from 14 choices. She could choose 6 from 32 choices. So those all involved combinations. We had to use combinations within our probability. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop our video there for today. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hop back to Schoology and take your quiz.